Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia. Welcome back to the Overwatch Transfer Roundup. So, again, it's going to be a fairly normal sized one. It's not big, it's not small, it's just in the middle. And there are some interesting things going on in this Transfer Roundup. There really are some interesting things going on. So let's not delay, let's get straight into it. And in the first thing we are going to see is a movement in China. These are some changes at Bilibili Gaming. So, they are letting go of the Chinese DPS player Blossom. He will no longer be assigned, and replacing him, they're bringing in the Chinese DPS player Kaylee. So this is obviously a straight in and out for Bilibili Gaming. They are one of the best teams in the region, and they are looking to improve furthermore, and we'll see how they do going forward. Then we have some changes at Angry Titans. So Angry Titans are going to feature quite a little bit during this video, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this, but this is them bringing in two players from the Ultimates, who are a Saudi Arabian team. So this is them bringing in the Danish tank player Henningsen and bringing in the Saudi Arabian support player Samajid. They're both coming into Angry Titans, but then we have something to say about them a little bit later on, but we'll get to that in a minute. Then we have some of the big interesting news. This is movements of Revival in North America. So Revival, they've been going through a lot of changes recently. You know, they've lost quite a few players, including Aspen to the likes of Team Doge. And they had some really good players like Aspire and people like that. But a shock move, they've been playing a lot in trials recently, and the shock move is they've let go of everyone. And I mean everyone. So, this is the American coach Static, the Lithuanian coach Ryu, the American coach JSR, the Italian support player Freyu, the American support player Laya, or the rest are American, so Frosted, the tank player, Moopy, the tank player, and the 4 DPS player Squid, Cabe, Boat, and Aspire. Aspire being one of the best players. They've rid themselves of their entire roster. And there is a reason they have done this. So Revival has acquired not only the roster, but also the Contenders spot of Slepton. Slepton was a team not created all that long ago, just at the start of Season 2 of Contenders in North America, and it has some pretty interesting names in it. So they have actually acquired the entire roster, including coaches and all, and the spot in Contenders. So this is a big move by Revival. So coming in, we have the Norwegian DPS player Track, the American DPS player Dynasty, the Danish tank player Doge, the American tank player Cowman 711, the American support player Mozza, the American support player Karatz, then the American manager Baguette, and then these are the two interesting names. You'll notice these names from the Overwatch League not so long ago. This is the American coach Gods and the American coach Fat Fiction. So they used to play in the league. Gods used to play for the Toronto Defiant as a tank player, and Fat Fiction used to be a main tank in the league, used to play for Valiant, among others, the Houston Outlaws as well. So they're all coming into Revival, so this is a pretty big shift at Revival. They think it's a very good move to make. Slepton have done pretty decently during this Contenders season, and better than Revival have. So they're looking to make moves Revival. This is interesting, and we will see where they go. I hope Aspire gets another team though, because Aspire is a very good American DPS player, and I'm sure he won't be without a team for long. I'm surprised they didn't actually want to try and keep hold of him and mold him into this squad. Anyway, moving on, and we have some movements in the EU region. This is the Finnish tank player Vastola. He was unassigned. He'll be coming into Ex Oblivione. Ex Oblivione starting to become a very well-known name in the EU now. Not so long ago they were created, but they're becoming a sort of a stalwart of that EU region that has changed a lot over the years. And again, this is teams trying to make changes to try and challenge British Hurricane, because no one can challenge British Hurricane right now. Who knows what that team is doing. But yeah, this is interesting, and we will see where they go from here. Then we have a movement in Korea. This is the Korean tank player Inakas. He was at GC Busan Wave. He will be moving over to World Game Star Phoenix. Obviously, World Game Star Phoenix not having the best season, but they're having a good season, better than GC Busan Wave certainly. So this is definitely a move up the ladder for Inakas, and I wish him all the best going forward. And then again, at Ex Oblivione, we see the American coach Seven coming in after he was unassigned, and I wish him all the best going forward there as well. So, now we move back to Korea, where we saw Inakas coming into the WTS Phoenix. This means the WTS Phoenix are going to let go of their Korean tank player Oberon, and he will no longer be assigned. That's a name we've heard a lot of in Korean Contenders, so he's no longer assigned, and that's going to be rough for him. They're also going to bring in another tank player, though. This is a bit of a left-wing pick, because this is the Korean tank player Zbag, and he was on Team CC/Team CC's trainee academy, so he was two-way with their trainee academy and their CC roster. Team CC is actually the academy team of the Shanghai Dragons, if you didn't know. So this is a pretty good signing for WTS Phoenix. They clearly want to mold a new tank line going forward, featuring Zbag and Innercast. And I wish them all the best going into that, trying to get back to the form they were showing at the end of last season of Korean Contenders. Then we move back to North America, where we see some moves at, yes, the only remaining Overwatch League Academy team, the Uprising Academy. Who'd have thought the Uprising Academy would be the only remaining Overwatch League Academy team in the North American region? I don't think a lot of people would have expected that, considering the way the Boston Uprising work. But we live in these times nonetheless. So this is them going to be letting go of some of their backroom staff. So this is the French Polynesian coach Mini. They were an assistant coach at the Boston Uprising, or the Uprising Academy I should say, and they will no longer be assigned. Also they're letting go of the American analyst Spackle. He will no longer be with the Boston Uprising Academy and will no longer be assigned. Also in North America, we see that the American DPS player Cohesion, who was with Infamous, will no longer be assigned either, and he will be leaving that team, so I wish him all the best in his search for a new team. Then we move over to the Pacific region, which we don't actually talk all that much about lately because of obviously not having any Pacific contenders these days, but this is a new head coach at Far East Society who will be competing in these Pacific tournaments that go on. This is the British coach Egoisticat. Egoisticat. I think that's how you say it, Egoisticat. I got there in the end. Anyway, he'll be moving in to the head coach role at Far East Society, and I wish him all the best. Then we move back to the North American region, where we see two players leaving Karasuno. This is the British tank player Jakaru19 and the Korean support player, I should say, Delight. They will no longer be assigned after leaving Karasuno, and I wish them all the best going forward. Then we have some weird moves at Angry Titans. So we mentioned earlier Hanging Sen and Some Magic coming into the Angry Titans. Well, they're going straight back out the door again. Yeah. So this is the Angry Titans letting go of 4 players actually. This is the French support player Starboy, the obviously Saudi Arabian support player Some Magic, the Danish tank player Hanging Sen, and then the Swedish DPS player Love. This is interesting that they would be letting go of 2 players they've had literally for 4 days. I don't know what's quite gone on at the Angry Titans, but it's not a great look. Even though they failed to pick up a map in the September tournament for Contenders EU, I still don't think it's great to completely obliterate 2 players that you've only just brought in. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, and Angry Titans is a very volatile team right now in terms of moving in and out. So, yeah, we'll see what happens in the future there. But now we have to talk about a new team forming in the European region. In fact, actually, I say it's a new team, it's kind of a new team made from an old team. So, this is a new team called Hostile Takeover. They will be a new team rebranding from the ashes of Raw Esports. So Raw Esports have been around the European region for a little while, and now they're rebranding to become Hostile Takeover. Their icon kind of looks like a Minecraft cube. So yeah, there's something to take from that if you want. But anyway, let's talk about who they are signing. So they are bringing a manager out of retirement. This is the Portuguese manager Pada, and he will manage the team. Then we have the British DPS player Disperse, who will be moving from Vasta Gaming to come in at the Hostile Takeover team. And then they have a bunch coming in. So these are all unassigned before this. This is the Danish support player Yippee-Ki-Yay. This is the Scottish support player Yanba. The Finnish tank player Vile. The British tank player ADM. And then the DPS player from Singapore. This will be Vital. And they will all be coming in at Hostile Takeover to form that team and see how they can do in the ashes of Raw Esports. And I wish them all the best. But that is the finish for the incomers in this video. The rest are all outgoing. So this is going to be starting us off, these outgoings, with Exoblivione and the British DPS player Sycamore. He will no longer be assigned, and we'll be looking for a team. I wish them all the best in that hunt. Then we make a move to the Overwatch League, our only move during this window, or this week I should say, This is the American coach Wheats, who was assistant coach at the Vancouver Titans. Obviously came in when the big bust-up of the Vancouver Titans happened earlier this year. He's out the door. Bye-bye. He will no longer be assigned. And I wish him all the best looking for another team. I'm sure he'll find winning contenders. Or maybe very, very low owl, but I expect it'll be contenders. This is maybe the start of the rebuild for Vancouver Titans. We don't know exactly what this team is going to do in the off-season. Whether they're going to try and move back to an all-Korean roster, and that roster was just temporary with the likes of Shockwave. We know there are rumours that there is a lot of interest in Shockwave. That's hardly surprising considering he looked so fantastic on that Vancouver roster despite its struggles. But it's going to be a very interesting off-season for the Vancouver Titans. Then we have a movement of Revival. This is them letting go of one of that new roster. This is the Danish tank player Doge. He'll no longer be assigned, and I wish him all the best looking for a team. Then we have a movement of Karasuno. This is them letting go of the French DPS player Asking. He will no longer be assigned. So, Asking is very good mechanically. Very, very good mechanically, but he can never hold on to a team. It is very, very weird. I don't know whether it's due to comms or toxicity. I don't know what it is, or whether it's sometimes he just falls out with a team and just doesn't want to play for them. But he's leaving Karasuno, and he will no longer be assigned. And this is a player that I thought could have a shot at the Overwatch League with his mechanical skill at times. So yeah, this is disappointing for him, and I hope he can turn things around and find another team and pop off somewhere else. Then last but not least, we have the Swedish tank player Kanasen. He will be leaving Angry Titans and will no longer be assigned. Yes, another outgoer from the Angry Titans. It's an interesting one, the Angry Titans, and there's not much to say about it, is there? It's a weird one, and I hope they can find a roster that suits them and they can get better in that European region, because they are former Contenders title winners in Europe, albeit 2 years ago now in 2018. But they were a very big team back then, and it's a shame to see them struggling so much. But that is it for this transfer roundup. I hope you're all having a great day. I hope you all loved the All-Stars that we saw in the Asia region for the Overwatch League yesterday. And yeah, I'm going to leave it here for this one. So, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you'd like to give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.